I know you feel frustrated or fearful at some point or another because you're human. And in particular, if you struggle with food and movement and feeling well and healthy, there's definitely some fear and frustration there. In this video, I'm gonna share with you how to have faith when you're stuck in fear and frustration. I'm Casey Berglund, anti-diet dietitian, yoga teacher, and mentor at worthyandwell.com. Recently, I asked the Worthy and Well community to answer a few questions in a feedback form because I really wanted to better understand, where you're at, what your frustrations are, and how I can help. And I am completely overwhelmed by the responses. Finally, I've had an opportunity to go through all of them, and it's so great to hear people speak openly and vulnerably about where they're at. For some folks, they're really feeling the struggle and the tension with food. And for others, they're maybe on the part of their path where they're getting into mindful eating and having a healthier, more accepting, more forgiving relationship with themselves and with their bodies. One theme that I picked out of everyone's responses almost was this element of fear or frustration with something. In fact, I'd like to share with you what some members of the community shared with me. I get so frustrated that I try so hard and sometimes still fail. And while I know that mistakes and failures happen, I just want to have a good relationship with food and my body and be positive, especially with having kids. My biggest frustration is the constant barrage of negative body image messages and food restriction dieting programs promoted in the media. As someone constantly working to overcome a negative relationship with my body and food, these messages can be overwhelming and very frustrating. Another woman spoke. I think about food very frequently, obsessively sometimes. At one point of time, I had extreme control over what I ate, but now it seems that food has more control over me and dictates a lot of what I do or how I feel on a day-to-day basis. I don't feel particularly comfortable in my own skin, even though I know that logically doesn't make sense. I'm frustrated that I always feel overweight and unattractive. I'm not sure why, as I'm surrounded by people who love me and support me. I feel out of control with my body right now. I've been successful in every aspect of my life except for controlling what I eat. I don't know of any way to learn how to not be this way. I feel this is who I am and I'm stuck here. When I eat well, it provides me with such energy, clarity, and love. If that's how good I feel, why can't I maintain that? And I should be able to figure this out on my own without having to buy a program. I'm recovering from an eating disorder, and although I'm stable and better, I still struggle with calorie counting and fat fears. And there were so many more responses that I received. So to those of you who filled out that form, thank you so very much. I want you to know that I'm really hearing you and listening, and I really want to help. So I totally get it that there are fears and frustrations present, and it can make you feel really stuck and also contribute to anxiety and stress. And although I personally have not been in a space of feeling fearful or frustrated around food in my body because I've had a long time to do a lot of healing around that, I do experience fear and frustration in other areas. Some of you might know that recently I was mugged walking down the street, and the week following I was dealing with a lot of feelings of being violated and unsafe and really stressed and anxious and stuck in fear. And it totally threw me off. It's like from that place I could not create anything inspiring to serve you. I couldn't do the work that I needed to do. And I found my natural tendency was to try and grip for control in other areas of my life. I think this is normal. In many of those responses I read to you, people spoke about how they want to be able to control their diet and they want to be able to have control over their bodies. And this control piece, it seems it's almost causing more stress because then you feel like you're failing at it. You're releasing control. You're not able to move forward in the way that you want to. So in these circumstances, when you're feeling fearful and frustrated, it can be super hard to trust in the process and to have any faith at all that the universe has your back or that the powers that be, whatever you believe in spiritually, are supporting you. And at the same time, these are precisely the moments where we need to feel held and supported and grounded. So although learning to have faith is not something that you can rush, It is a process that takes time. There are a few things that you can do to bring yourself more into the energy of faith instead of fear. The first thing that I would recommend is actually to dive deeper into your fear. So often we are trying to avoid painful, uncomfortable emotions. We want fear to go away. We want frustration to go away. We grip to all these things that we think will make us feel better. Because again, you're human. We're either chasing a feeling or running away from a feeling. I'll use myself as an example. When I was feeling super scared after being violated, I noticed myself like trying to really distract with work. So it used to be with food or with trying to change my body, but now it's kind of like, can I work? Can I be busier so that I don't have to like be scared? I can distract myself from this fear. But what I realized was that my energy was just being drained by the fear itself, but also by just like trying to do something else to cover it up. And it wasn't until I let myself really acknowledge why I was so scared and where I felt that in my body and what that felt like. For me, it was like a really intense tightening in my chest, and my shoulders were in so much pain. And I had to have a really wild cry. I was sobbing on my floor. I had to really feel that fear and let myself go there, because otherwise it would just kind of linger in the background. So for one, when it comes to like feeling fearful or frustrated about food or your body, or maybe a fear of getting fat or gaining weight or never being able to heal this relationship with food, can you let yourself in a safe space just like even close your eyes and feel into it and notice if you feel tension in your body? Maybe it's helpful to write about it if you're a journaler, or for some people it's like talking about how you're feeling with someone else who is a trusted person. Let yourself have that experience of being in the fear so that it can naturally pass. The second thing I'm going to say, and I guess it kind of is necessary for part one to happen, is to be present. So fears and worries are not in the present moment. They occur when your mind runs off into the future or the past. And so when you acknowledge that you're frustrated or you're fearful or you're worried about something that could happen, or you're frustrated by something that you should be doing and you're not, those are not present moment thoughts. So as much as possible, bring awareness to those and have a plan to interrupt the pattern of those thoughts. So one simple thing that you can do is you can give yourself a little snap on the wrist with an elastic, like a physical sensation, to say to yourself, like, come out of the fear, get present. Other people like to switch a bracelet or an elastic from one hand to the other. That's my friend Veronica Grant's strategy. But anything to help you be aware of the thought and bring yourself back to the present. Notice that being connected with your breath and observing your breath is something that is helpful for getting into the present moment. It's going to stimulate more relaxation and more calmness for yourself. In that moment, when you're in presence, you can be better aware of what you need to serve yourself in that moment. So for me, after feeling the fear, I realized that like what I really need is not to try and force myself or use my will to get more work done. It was actually, I needed to be more quiet with myself. I needed to actually go out to the mountains, which were very grounding for me, and get a massage or do something that was really relaxing to help shift my energy from that state of fear to one that was more trusting, loving, and faithful. The third thing I'll suggest is to surrender your fear to that which is greater than you. So I totally get that there's all kinds of people watching this video, and you may or may not identify with a specific, religion or way of being spiritual. But I think for many of us, it's helpful to have faith in something, whether that be energy, the universe, life, some sort of positive force that can really help to create some ease and calm. So often when we grip for control, it's almost like we're telling ourselves that we can predict every single outcome that's going to happen in our lives. Well, do you think I predicted that someone was going to come by and swipe my bag on the street? There are other forces at play that affect your life. So here's what I recommend you do. If you haven't already shared, what your fears and frustrations are and answered some of those questions in the questionnaire, please do that. And I promise you that just in doing that, you can kind of rest in the fact that you're being held and supported. But I also invite you to write those fears or worries down, or write down the area of your life where you're really taking control, and put them in a box or a jar, something that you might call the universe jar, or the jar for surrendering. And just write it down, put it in the jar, and say, like, I'm letting go of this. I'm letting this go to the powers in the universe that are greater than me and beyond my control. In the coming weeks, I'm gonna be diving into specific fears or frustrations that you've shared with me, and trying to shine some light around how you can approach these fears and frustrations to create more ease and calm and contentment in your life, because I believe that that's what you're truly after. Please do, follow these 3 steps, or even think about these 3 steps, feeling the fear, getting present, and surrendering these fears and frustrations to the universe. It wasn't until I decided to just let go of control, and it's a lesson that I always have to practice, but let go of control, understand that there's some sort of purpose in these fears and frustrations, that I was able to restore my energy back to one of positivity and love and joy. And in that energy, that's the only energy that I can serve authentically from. It's up to you to shift your vibe and make a choice. You can stay stuck in fear, or you can choose to see things differently. I hope that's helpful, and I totally always want to hear from you, so don't ever hesitate to either comment below the blog post or email Casey@worthyandwell.com, or again, share your thoughts in the questionnaire that is linked up below this video. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.